Cole Harland had crossed the Nevada desert many times in his life. But on this particular afternoon, something felt different. The sun hung low like a heavy copper coin, warming his back and filling the air with a golden haze. His horse, Dusty, moved in a steady rhythm, knowing the path almost as well as Cole did. The desert was wide, quiet, and endless, just the way Cole preferred it. He had always liked open spaces. They gave him time to think, to breathe, and to forget the noise of towns and the busy lives of people who never stopped talking. He was on a simple supply trip, nothing unusual. A few bags of flour, some coffee beans, and medicine for the ranch. Cole planned to reach the river by evening, before the desert night turned cold. Everything was going as expected, until Dusty halted suddenly, ears pointed forward. Cole knew the horse well enough to recognize that something had caught its attention. "What is it, boy?" Cole murmured, leaning forward to look beyond the stretch of sand ahead. At first, he saw nothing but shimmering heat waves rising off the ground. Then, a small shape appeared still, quiet, almost blending with the earth. Cole narrowed his eyes. It looked like a person lying on the sand. He felt a small jolt in his chest. Out here, the desert was harsh. Anyone alone in such heat could be in real danger. He guided Dusty closer and climbed down. As he approached, he realized it was a young woman. She was dressed in traditional Paiute clothing, beaded cloth, soft moccasins, and a necklace made of carved shells. Her dark hair was dusty, and her lips looked dry from the heat. She wasn't unconscious, but her eyes were half open, unfocused, as if she hadn't had water in far too long. Cole knelt beside her. "Miss, can you hear me?" he asked softly. Her gaze lifted to meet his. Calm but tired. She blinked slowly, like each movement took effort. "Water," she whispered. Cole's heart tightened. He pulled his canteen from his belt and gently lifted her head, letting her sip. She drank carefully, not too fast, which told Cole she still had strength and awareness. When she finished, she let out a quiet breath, and some color returned to her cheeks. He could tell she had been walking alone, probably for a long time. The desert sun wasn't kind to anyone, and her feet showed signs of miles traveled. Cole wanted to ask what happened, why she was alone, but he knew questions could wait. First, she needed help. "My name's Cole," he said gently. "I'm going to get you to the river." "It's not far." She nodded slightly. "Mara," she said her name with soft clarity, as if offering a small piece of trust. Cole smiled in reassurance. "All right, Mara, let's get you out of this heat." He helped her sit up slowly, supporting her carefully. She winced a little as she moved. Not from pain, but from exhaustion. Cole wrapped his arm behind her back to help her stand. She was light, but he could feel how much energy she had lost. Dusty lowered his head as if sensing her weakness. Cole lifted Mara onto the horse with great care. She held onto the saddle horn weakly, leaning slightly to one side. Cole stayed beside her, one hand steadying her leg to keep her balanced. The journey to the riverbed that usually took Cole an hour stretched longer this time. He walked beside Dusty, guiding him with slow steps so Mara didn't bounce too much. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows. A breeze moved across the sand, carrying the scent of sagebrush. Every few minutes, Cole looked up to check on Mara. Her eyes drifted closed at times, but she wasn't fainting, just conserving strength. She seemed calm, as if she trusted him completely, even though they were strangers. Cole felt a quiet responsibility settle on his shoulders. He didn't rescue people often. In fact, he usually kept to himself. But something about Mara's quiet bravery touched him. She hadn't panicked or cried. She simply accepted help with a quiet dignity that made Cole admire her. When a light desert wind began to rise, Cole glanced at the sky. Thin clouds drifted in, and the air grew cooler. The desert changed quickly, and soon the wind brought a hint of sand with it. Cole didn't worry it wasn't a strong storm, but enough to hurry his steps. "We're almost there," he called up to Mara gently. She opened her eyes slightly. "Thank you." she whispered. Cole led Dusty faster, and finally, the ground dipped into a shallow slope. The dry land gave way to the faint glimmer of the riverbed. Water flowed slowly but steadily, reflecting the evening light. The sight brought relief to Cole. He knew they were safe now. He helped Mara down from the horse. Her legs trembled, but he held her steady and guided her to a smooth rock near the edge of the water. She sat and reached toward the river with both hands, cupping the cool water and letting it touch her lips. Cole let her drink slowly, then filled his canteen so she could sip more without leaning too far. Mara took a deep breath, as if life settled back into her body. She brushed her hair back from her face and looked up at Cole with gratitude that didn't need words. Cole set up a small resting spot, using his blanket and saddlebag as a cushion. He didn't want to crowd her, so he worked quietly, making sure she felt safe without feeling pressured. When Mara seemed stable, Cole finally asked, "How long were you out there?" She paused, looking out across the desert as if tracing her steps in her mind. "Since morning," she answered slowly. "I went to gather herbs. I followed a trail farther than I meant to. The sun turned strong. I lost my path. And is not my call. This now." "A well," Cole nodded. The desert had confused many travelers. Even people born and raised near it could misjudge its distances. He didn't press her for more details. He wanted her to rest. As they sat by the river, the warm colors of the sunset painted the sky. Mara watched quietly, her expression peaceful now. She seemed comforted simply by being beside water again. Cole gathered some dry branches and lit a small, safe fire, not large enough to attract attention, just enough to warm the air as night approached. Desert nights could be cold, and he wanted Mara to stay comfortable. Dusty grazed nearby, and the quiet crackle of the fire filled the silence. Mara looked at Cole after a long moment. "You saved me," she said softly. Cole shook his head gently. "Anyone would have helped," he replied. But Mara studied him with calm eyes, as if she understood something deeper. "Not everyone stops." Cole didn't argue. He simply nodded, feeling a warm but quiet sense of purpose settle inside him. As the stars appeared one by one, the air turned crisp. Cole made sure Mara had his blanket. Even though she insisted he use it too, he assured her that he had another in his pack, and she accepted it with gratitude. Mara seemed stronger now, her voice steady. "My family will be worried," she said. "I'll take you home in the morning," Cole replied. "We'll travel at sunrise. It'll be cooler." Mara smiled faintly. A peaceful calm settled over them, the kind that comes not from words, but from shared trust. The desert night wrapped around them, quiet and safe. Cole kept watch by the fire, letting Mara rest. He didn't know anything about her life or her people yet, but he felt a strange certainty that meeting her had happened for a reason. He didn't believe in fate, but something about this moment made him wonder if the desert had brought them together on purpose. Mara slept with a relaxed expression, comforted by the river and the soft glow of the fire. Cole watched the sky, thinking about how a simple supply trip had turned into something far more meaningful. Out there in the vast desert, two different worlds had quietly crossed paths, and neither Cole nor Mara knew yet that this small act of kindness, one person helping another, was only the beginning of a story that would be remembered far longer than either of them could imagine. The morning sun rose gently, spreading soft gold across the desert and warming the cool night air. Cole Harland woke before the first bird call, as he always did. Years in the open land had made him an early riser. He checked the fire, now only warm ashes, and then turned his attention to Mara. She was awake, sitting quietly near the river with her blanket wrapped around her shoulders. She looked peaceful, almost like she belonged to that calm morning scene. The gentle light made her dark hair shine softly, and she seemed stronger than the day before. Cole approached slowly so he wouldn't startle her. "Morning," he said politely. Mara looked up and offered a small smile. "Good morning," she replied. Her voice sounded steadier, and Cole felt relieved. He filled his canteen with fresh water and handed it to her. "Drink a little. We have a long ride." Mara nodded and took a few slow sips. My village is not far from here, she said thoughtfully. Maybe 2 hours by horse. Cole had guessed as much, but hearing her say it made him feel better. He didn't want her to travel too long while still recovering. What's the name of your village? He asked. Tlaco Springs, she answered with soft pride. My people have lived there for many generations. Cole had heard the name before. Some travelers mentioned the Paiute settlement hidden between the hills and the small forests near the river. People said the community was peaceful and respectful of the land. Cole had never visited, but he knew it was an important place. He helped Mara onto Dusty again, but this time she seemed steadier. Cole walked beside the horse, keeping a careful eye on her. As they traveled, the desert began to change around them. Small shrubs appeared more often, and patches of green dotted the landscape. Birds sang high above, and the river made a soft sound as it flowed eastward. Mara looked around slowly, taking in the familiar land. The earth feels kind again, she said quietly. Cole smiled at her poetic way of speaking. I'm glad. They traveled in comfortable silence for a while. The air felt fresh, and Cole enjoyed the peaceful rhythm of Dusty's steps along the soft ground. Eventually, Mara spoke again. You come from the town near the trading road? She asked. Yes, Cole answered. I live on a small ranch outside the town. It's quiet there. You like quiet places, Mara observed. Cole chuckled softly. I do. Always have. Mara nodded in understanding. I also like quiet places. They help the heart listen. Cole didn't fully understand what she meant, but he appreciated her thoughtful nature. There was something gentle and wise about her, even though she was still young. As they moved closer to the hills, Mara pointed ahead. Beyond those rocks, my people are there. Cole felt a small knot form in his chest. He wasn't nervous, but he didn't know what kind of welcome he would receive. He hoped they would see that he meant no harm. When they reached the edge of the hills, Mara lifted her hand in greeting to two figures who stood in the distance. They spotted her instantly and hurried forward. Cole could see their faces change from worry to relief as they recognized her. They were older men, likely relatives. They didn't rush wildly, but their steps were quick, full of emotion. When they reached her, they spoke in their own language, first soft, grateful words that Cole couldn't understand, but could feel the meaning of. Mara slid gently from the horse, and Cole supported her as she landed on her feet. The men looked at him then carefully, curiously, not with mistrust, but with the seriousness of people who cared deeply about Mara's well-being. Mara spoke, explaining how Cole had found her and helped her. As she talked, their expressions softened. One of the men bowed his head slightly toward Cole, a respectful gesture. I am Tohano, the man said in accented English. This is my brother, Yaska. Cole nodded humbly. I'm glad she's safe. They began walking toward the village together. Mara walked beside Cole, while Tohano and Yaska followed closely. The path curved around a hill, and soon Cole saw Tlaco Springs for the first time. It was a beautiful place. Tall cottonwood trees surrounded the area, their leaves fluttering gently. Small homes made from natural materials blended with the earth as if they grew from the land itself. Children played near the water, and women prepared food near open-air shelters. The village felt calm and full of life, simple yet rich in its own way. As Mara was seen approaching, people noticed her. Their faces lit up with relief and joy, and many came forward. They gathered around her, touching her hands, speaking to her with warm, emotional voices. Cole stepped back slightly, not wanting to intrude. He knew these were important moments, family and community, embracing someone they feared lost. Mara looked back at him, offering a small, grateful smile that made Cole's chest feel strangely warm. Soon, an older woman approached. She carried an air of authority, yet her eyes were full of warmth. She embraced Mara gently and then turned to Cole. I am Nara, she introduced herself. I am Mara's mother. Cole nodded respectfully. I'm honored to meet you. Nara studied him for a moment, not with suspicion, but with quiet curiosity. She seemed to see something in him, something she approved of. Mara told us you cared for her when the desert grew unkind. You showed great heart. Cole felt slightly embarrassed but simply replied, anyone would have helped. Nara shook her head with a knowing smile. Not everyone listens when the earth whispers. She said this in a thoughtful way, as if she could see deeper truths. The village welcomed Mara with small celebrations, offerings of water, fresh fruit, and gentle songs. Cole watched from a respectful distance, feeling like an outsider but not unwelcome. Several villagers came to thank him personally, each with calm, sincere words. A few invited him to stay for a meal, and though Cole tried to politely decline, Mara insisted kindly. You should rest before traveling back, she said. My people would be honored if you shared our food. Cole finally agreed. As they sat together on woven mats, he enjoyed a meal that tasted fresh and comforting. He had never eaten food prepared with such care. Mara's younger siblings watched him with shy curiosity, giggling when Cole smiled back at them. Throughout the meal, Cole noticed quiet whispers among the elders, gentle discussions, glances in his direction. Calm nods, as if they were deciding something. Cole didn't understand the meaning behind it, but he knew it wasn't disrespectful or unfriendly. Mara, seated near him, leaned close. They have a tradition, she said softly. When someone saves a life with great kindness, the village believes that person is connected to the one they saved. A special bond. Cole listened, unsure how to respond. It is not something forced, Mara continued. But the idea is important to them. Cole nodded slowly. I hope they don't feel I've done something unusual. I only helped. Mara smiled gently. Sometimes simple kindness is the most unusual thing. As the sun lowered once again, the village prepared for evening tasks. Children laughed near the water, elders shared stories, and the comforting sounds of daily life filled the air. Cole stood quietly at the edge of the gathering, feeling peaceful but also aware he didn't belong to this world. Mara walked toward him, her steps light and graceful. You will stay the night, she said softly, almost as a statement more than a question. Traveling before dawn is not wise. Cole hesitated, but her kind expression convinced him. All right, he agreed. As the stars appeared above, Mara looked up at the sky and then at Cole. My people believe the desert brought us together for a reason, she said gently. Cole felt a strange warmth in his chest again, a feeling he didn't fully understand. I don't know what the reason is, Mara continued, but I am grateful. Cole met her gaze slowly. So am I. Neither of them knew yet how much deeper their connection would grow, or how the village's quiet whispers would shape the path ahead. But in that moment, standing beneath the peaceful desert sky, something new and unspoken formed between them, soft, warm, and unexpectedly strong. The next morning began quietly in Tlaco Springs, with the soft sounds of village life rising like gentle music. Cole woke to the scent of warm bread and the rustle of early activity. The air felt cool, touched by the night's leftover breeze, and the sun had barely climbed above the hills. For a moment, Cole forgot he was in a place far different from his ranch. The peaceful atmosphere felt strangely comforting. He stepped outside the small shelter where he had slept and found Mara nearby, gathering herbs in a small woven basket. Her face seemed brighter and healthier today, and the tiredness that once shadowed her eyes had lifted. You're up early, Cole said with a friendly smile. Mara looked over her shoulder, returning the smile. I'm used to waking before the sun, she replied. There is a calmness in the morning that the heart needs. Cole chuckled softly. I guess that makes two of us. She continued her work with careful, practiced movements. The herbs were fragrant, filling the air with a sweet, calming scent. Cole recognized sage among them, but most were unfamiliar. What are those for? Cole asked, curious. Tea, Mara explained. For strength and peace. Would you like to try some after breakfast? I'd like that, Cole said. As they walked toward the main gathering area of the village, Cole noticed more eyes on him than the day before. Not unfriendly, but watchful. Curious. Respectful. People nodded to him, some smiling warmly. Cole nodded back politely, though he still felt like a guest stepping on sacred ground. Mara's mother, Nara, greeted them with warm bread and fruit. "Eat, both of you," she insisted with motherly kindness. "A strong day needs a strong beginning." Cole thanked her and sat beside Mara. The breakfast was simple but fresh and full of flavor. Much better than the dry biscuits he was used to eating on the trail. "You will stay here again tonight," Nara said kindly. "Our elders wish to speak with you later." Cole paused mid-bite. "Speak with me? About what?" Mara and her mother exchanged a knowing glance, one that made Cole's heartbeat slow, in a strange, uncertain rhythm. "They wish to thank you in their own way," Nara explained. "It is tradition." Cole nodded, though he wasn't sure he completely understood. Traditions meant a lot in this village, he had already learned that. After breakfast, Mara guided Cole through the village. Children ran past them, laughing as they played near the water. Women worked on weaving baskets or preparing food. Men tended to the horses or checked fishing nets placed along the riverbank. Everything moved with a sense of calm purpose. "It's a beautiful place," Cole said quietly. Mara smiled proudly. "It is home. My people live simply, but with joy. The land gives us what we need, if we treat it with care." Cole admired her words. He had always lived close to nature. But the connection Mara and her people had with the land seemed deeper, almost spiritual. It was a peaceful way of life. As they walked, Mara shared stories of Talaco Springs, tales of the first families who settled here, of the sacred trees that shaded the village, of the traditions passed down from their ancestors. She spoke with a gentle excitement, happy to share her world with him. Cole listened with genuine interest. He felt drawn to her calm voice, to the way she chose her words thoughtfully, and to the quiet pride she held for her people. In her presence, he felt something he couldn't quite name, something warm, peaceful, and new. At one point, Mara paused near a tall cottonwood tree. "This is where my father taught me to read the messages of the wind," she said with a soft smile. Cole raised a brow. "The wind?" She laughed gently. "Not real messages, just the feelings it brings. A strong wind warns us. A soft wind comforts us. Small things, but they guide us." Cole looked up at the tree. "Maybe I should learn to read the wind too." Mara tilted her head thoughtfully, then nodded. "You already listen more than many people do. That is the first step." 2. Her words warmed Cole more than the sun ever could. As the day went on, Cole helped some villagers with light tasks, carrying baskets, gathering firewood, guiding horses to the river. He didn't want to just stand around, and his helpful nature quickly made him even more accepted. People spoke kindly to him, and he responded with the same sincerity. But despite the friendly atmosphere, Cole still noticed quiet whispers among the elders. They watched him with thoughtful eyes, as if studying something important about him. Whenever Cole glanced their way, they smiled politely, but their knowing expressions made him wonder what exactly they were thinking. Later that afternoon, Mara invited Cole to sit by the river. The water shimmered under the sunlight, and a gentle breeze moved across its surface. "Thank you for helping everyone today," she said warmly. "My people appreciate kindness." Cole shrugged modestly. "It's nothing. I don't like to sit still anyway." Mara looked at him thoughtfully. "You fit in here more easily than I expected." "That's surprising?" Cole asked with a raised brow. "A little," Mara admitted with a smile. "You walk quietly, but people notice your heart." Cole didn't know how to respond. Her words settled deep inside him, touching something he didn't often show others. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the gentle flow of the river. It felt peaceful, natural, as if they had known each other far longer than just a few days. As the sun began to lower in the sky, painting the village in warm colors, a small group of elders approached. They moved with calm dignity, their expressions warm but serious. Mara stood respectfully. "Cole, they wish to speak with you now." Cole nodded, rising to meet them. The elders led him toward the shaded area, where they often held important conversations. Mara stayed nearby, watching with gentle concern. The oldest elder, a man with silver hair and kind eyes, spoke first. Cole Harland, you brought Mara home safely. For this, our hearts are grateful. Cole bowed his head respectfully. I only did what I hope anyone would do, the elder smiled softly. Perhaps, but actions show truth, not intentions. Another elder, a woman with long dark braids, stepped forward. Our traditions are old. They speak of bonds, formed through kindness, through courage, through open hearts. Cole listened carefully, unsure where this was going. When someone saves one of our people in the desert, she continued gently, it is believed that their spirits are linked. Not by force, not by expectation, but by a natural path the earth chooses. Cole felt heat rise in his chest, not fear, but surprise. He glanced toward Mara, who watched with a calm but tender expression. The elder continued, we do not claim you. We do not bind you. But we see this connection. We honor it. Cole took a slow breath. I respect your traditions, he said honestly. But I don't want to be seen as someone special. I just wanted Mara to be safe. The elder nodded. And that honesty is why we speak to you now. You do not seek honor. Yet it finds you. Mara stepped closer then, her eyes soft. Cole, she said gently. They are not asking anything from you. They are simply acknowledging something they feel is real. Her voice soothed his uncertainty. The eldest elder spoke again. The earth brought your paths together. What happens next is for both of you to choose. Not us. Cole felt the tension inside him ease. They weren't trying to pressure him or place expectations on him. They were simply expressing gratitude and recognizing something they believed in deeply. He nodded slowly. Then I'm honored by your trust, he said sincerely. The elders smiled warmly, their expressions filled with respect. They bowed their heads slightly before stepping away, leaving Cole and Mara standing together under the fading sunlight. Mara looked at him quietly, her eyes full of meaning. I hope their words didn't make you uncomfortable. Cole shook his head gently. No, just surprised. And now? She asked softly. Cole looked at her, really looked at her, the calm strength in her eyes, the quiet warmth she always carried, the gentle way she made him feel seen. Now, he said slowly, I think I understand why they feel there's a bond. Mara's smile grew gentle and warm. So do I. They stood beside the river, the evening light settling around them like soft gold. And in the calm silence that followed, something unspoken, but unmistakable, settled between them, gentle, deep, and growing stronger with each heartbeat. In the days that followed, Cole found himself settling into a quiet rhythm within Talaco Springs. He hadn't planned to stay this long. He had expected to return to his ranch after a night or two, but every morning brought new reasons to remain, and every evening left him feeling more connected to Mara, to her people, and to the peaceful life they lived. The villagers welcomed him openly now. Some asked him to help with chores, others simply enjoyed talking with him. Cole, who had always lived a quiet life, surprised himself by fitting effortlessly into the gentle pace of the village. He found comfort in tasks that felt meaningful, gathering water, mending a fence, helping repair a shelter after a windstorm. The work was simple, but it filled him with a sense of belonging he hadn't felt in years. Mara moved through each day with her usual calm grace, and Cole often found himself watching her without meaning to. She smiled easily, treated him with warmth, and seemed to sense his thoughts even before he spoke them. The connection between them grew naturally, without pressure, like a plant sprouting in good soil. Every shared conversation made it stronger. One afternoon, as the sun shone softly over the village, a group of young boys rushed toward the elders, speaking quickly and pointing toward the hills. Their words carried a tone of worry, though their faces showed no fear. Cole stood nearby and listened carefully. Tohano noticed him and walked over. The boys found something troubling near the ridge, he explained gently. A small group of our sheep wandered off again. The ground around that area is rocky, and the animals may have difficulty finding safe footing. Cole nodded. You need help bringing them back? Tohano's eyes softened. It would be appreciated. It is a delicate task. The sheep frighten easily, and we must guide them without stressing them. Cole smiled. I can help. I've worked with sheep before. Mara stepped forward just as Cole finished speaking. I will go too, she said. I know the paths well. The animals trust familiar voices. The elders agreed, and soon Cole, Mara, and a few villagers set off toward the hills. The walk was long but pleasant. The wind rustled through the sagebrush, and birds flew overhead, their calls echoing softly across the open land. Mara walked beside Cole, pointing out plants and stones of importance to her people. Cole listened with interest, enjoying the way her eyes lit up when she talked about nature. When they reached the rocky ridge, they saw the small flock scattered near a shallow incline. The animals weren't in danger, but they clearly looked confused, bleating softly, as if unsure where to go next. We must move slowly, Mara said kindly. They follow calm voices. Cole nodded, stepping carefully. He approached with gentle gestures, speaking softly in a tone he often used with Dusty. The sheep responded immediately, their nervous energy fading as they recognized a soothing presence. Cole guided them down the safer path while Mara stayed ahead, calling them toward her with soft words. The animals trusted her completely, moving as she wished. The villagers watched with quiet appreciation. They had expected Cole to help, but they hadn't expected him to be so patient and natural with their animals. He seemed to understand the quiet language of the land just as Mara did. The task took time, but eventually the group returned to the village with the sheep safe and calm. The elders thanked Cole sincerely. Their gratitude was simple but meaningful. Cole felt no pride, only a warm sense of having been useful. Later, when the sun dipped low and the sky glowed orange, Mara found Cole near the river. He was washing dust from his hands, his sleeves rolled up, his expression thoughtful. You were wonderful with the sheep, she said with a gentle smile. Cole shrugged modestly. Just did what needed doing. It meant more than you think, Mara replied. Her voice held a quiet truth. My people watch actions. They see the heart through them. Cole looked at her, his eyes warm. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I know, Mara said softly. That is why it matters. A soft breeze rustled her hair, and Cole felt a deep calm settle inside him. Being here, beside her, felt natural, as though he had been missing a part of himself without knowing it. That evening, the elders gathered again, this time in a larger circle near the fire. The air held a gentle glow from the flames, and the sounds of the village faded into quiet night murmurs. They invited Cole to sit with them. Mara remained close, though she sat slightly behind him, watching with gentle concern. The eldest elder spoke first. Cole Harland, you have helped us once again. Not because you were asked, but because it was in your nature. Cole shifted slightly, unsure how to respond. Another elder added, Our people value those who act with kindness without seeking thanks. Today, you showed patience and care. Not many outsiders understand our ways or move with such respect among our animals. Cole listened quietly, humbled by their words. He didn't see his actions as anything special. He had simply done what he felt was right. The elder woman with the long braids spoke gently. There is something important you must understand, Cole. Our traditions speak of the chosen path, a path decided by acts of the heart, not by words or force. Cole felt a soft uncertainty rise within him. I don't want to make promises I can't keep, he said slowly. The elder smiled. No promises are being asked of you. Mara relaxed slightly at the elder's kind tone. We simply tell you this, the elder continued. When a person shows loyalty not through great feats, but through gentle acts of care, it touches our spirit deeply. The eldest elder leaned forward, his eyes warm. Some among us believe the earth has shown a sign, that you have become more than a visitor here. Cole looked down, unsure what to say. He wasn't used to being seen this clearly, this deeply. But then Mara spoke, her voice soft as a whisper, yet clear as water. Cole, My people are not asking you to choose a path today. They only want to honor what they see in you. Cole lifted his gaze to hers. In her eyes, he found reassurance, not pressure, not expectation, but something pure and gentle. Trust, warmth, a connection that had grown quietly, like a seed taking root in soft soil. I don't know what the future holds, Cole admitted in a quiet, honest tone. But I care about your people, and I care about you. Mara's breath caught softly, a subtle sign of emotion she rarely showed. She lowered her eyes for a moment, gathering her thoughts, then met his gaze again, with a soft smile. And that is enough, she whispered. The elders nodded, satisfied. They spoke no further expectations and made no requests of Cole. They simply honored him with peaceful words and warm expressions, recognizing the bond they saw forming, one built slowly, gently, through kindness. As the fire crackled softly and the stars spread across the night sky, Cole felt something shift inside him. The desert had always been a place he respected, but now it felt like a guide, leading him toward something he never knew he needed. He glanced at Mara, who watched him with eyes full of quiet emotion. In that moment, he realized that the feeling growing inside him was more than admiration, more than gratitude, more than connection. It was something deeper, something tender, something that felt a lot like the beginning of love, and though neither of them spoke the word, it glowed silently between them, bright and warm as the firelight that danced across their faces. Cole stayed in Tulaco Springs longer than he expected. Every day blended into the next with a kind of gentle warmth he had never known before. He helped with daily chores, learned small pieces of the village's traditions, and spent most of his time with Mara, who seemed to understand him more with each passing moment. The peaceful rhythm of the village wrapped around him like a soft blanket, and leaving felt harder with each sunrise. But Cole knew, deep in his heart, that the calm days couldn't last forever. Life always moved forward, and he could not stay in the village without knowing what Mara truly wanted. The elders respected him. The villagers welcomed him, but none of that mattered more than Mara's voice, her choice. Still, uncertainty lingered in his thoughts. He didn't want to assume anything. He didn't want to take a place that wasn't his to take. And he didn't want Mara to feel bound by tradition if her heart wished for something else. Cole had always lived carefully, making decisions with thought instead of impulse. And now, as he stood near the river at dusk, he felt that same carefulness guiding him again. The sky glowed pink and orange, reflecting gently on the calm water. He watched the river move slowly, like time flowing past him. Mara approached quietly, her steps soft on the grass. Cole didn't notice her at first because she moved with such natural ease. When she came to his side, he turned and felt a gentle calm wash over him at the sight of her. "You are thinking again," she said warmly. Cole smiled a little. "Seems I do that a lot." Mara sat beside him, her skirt brushing against the grass. "Your thoughts are loud today. I can feel them." Cole didn't argue. She always seemed to sense what he carried inside. "I've been thinking about leaving," he said honestly, though his voice was soft. Mara lowered her gaze. "Leaving?" she repeated quietly. "I've been here many days now," Cole explained. "I don't want to stay longer than I'm welcome." Mara lifted her eyes immediately. "You are welcome." "I know," Cole said gently. "But I don't want to stay because people expect it. I don't want you to feel pressured because of traditions. I don't want the elders' words to choose your path." Mara studied him, her expression calm but full of depth. "Cole, traditions guide us, but they do not decide for us. The elders spoke of a connection, but they would never force a choice. Cole paused, searching for the right words. "I don't want to confuse respect with a future. What your people believe, what they said about a bond, it means something. I understand that, but I don't want them thinking I came here to take a place in your life without you wanting it too." Mara's eyes softened with emotion. She was quiet for a long moment, letting his words settle around them like falling dusk light. Finally, she spoke. "Do you think I would let someone choose my path for me?" Cole blinked, taken aback by the quiet strength in her voice. "No," he admitted. "I know you wouldn't." Mara nodded. Good. Because I will not let a tradition decide my heart. And neither should you. Her words brought relief to Cole, but also a new wave of uncertainty. He looked at the river again, then back at her. Then I need to ask you something, he said softly. What do you want, Mara? Not your people, not your elders, just you. Mara took a gentle breath. She turned her face toward him, her eyes warm and steady. What I want, she began quietly, is something I have been feeling for days, but waiting for the right moment to say. Cole's heartbeat softened into a slow, steady rhythm. I want the person who found me in the desert to stay in my life, Mara whispered. Not because he saved me, not because of prophecy, but because when I look at him, I feel peace. When I walk beside him, I feel understood. And when he speaks with kindness, the world feels lighter. Cole felt something shift inside him, something warm and deep. Mara continued, her voice steady but full of gentle emotion. I want the man whose heart listens more than it speaks. The man who cares for animals, who treats my people with respect, who watches the stars with quiet wonder. I want you, Cole. His breath caught softly. It felt like the world around him stilled. He had hoped silently, deeply, but hearing it from her lips felt like a blessing he didn't know he deserved. Mara, he whispered, unsure how to say everything he felt. She reached out, placing her hand gently over his. Do not leave, because you fear taking a place in my life. You already have a place. You took it softly, without knowing. And I gave it willingly. Cole turned his hand, letting their fingers touch fully. The moment felt tender, quiet, and deeply real. The warmth of her skin connected them, in a simple, honest way. What about your people? Cole asked softly. Are they truly comfortable with me staying? Mara smiled gently. They are comfortable because they see my heart. That is all they need. Cole exhaled, feeling a weight lift from his chest. The desert wind brushed across the river, carrying the peaceful scent of the evening. For the first time since meeting her, Cole felt certain of his place, certain of his feelings, certain of the path ahead. That night, Mara spoke with the elders. Cole waited outside the circle, not wanting to interfere. The villagers gathered in quiet groups, watching with warm curiosity. When Mara returned to him, her eyes glowed with a calm joy. They accept our choice, she said simply. Our choice? Cole repeated, his voice gentle. Mara nodded. Yes. I told them that the connection they sensed was true, but only because we chose it, not because they did. Cole felt his heart soften. And they agreed? They said a path chosen freely is the strongest kind. Mara's smile deepened. They are happy. That is enough. The elders then approached Cole with warm words, offering blessings of peace and acceptance. They welcomed him not as a visitor or a savior, but as someone important to their village, someone important to Mara. It wasn't a ceremony, not a grand event. It was simple, quiet, and filled with sincerity. Later, when the stars were high in the sky, Cole and Mara walked along the water's edge. The night was calm, lit only by moonlight, and the soft glow of lanterns from nearby shelters. What happens now? Cole asked quietly. Mara looked up at him with a gentle expression. Now, we build a future together, she said. Slowly, kindly, in our own way. Cole nodded. I'd like that, he whispered. So would I, Mara replied, her voice warm as the night breeze. They walked in silence, their hands lightly touching. The desert around them felt peaceful, as if it were blessing their new beginning. Cole realized that the land that had once felt vast and lonely now felt like a home full of promise. Mara gazed at the stars. Our story will be one people remember, she said softly. Not because of tradition, but because of choice. Cole smiled, feeling the truth of her words. A story of courage, he added. And respect, Mara said. And love, Cole finished quietly. Mara's eyes softened, full of quiet joy. Yes, she whispered. Love. In the gentle glow of the night, their journey reached its beginning, not an ending, but the start of something strong, warm, and lasting. A bond formed not by prophecy, not by obligation, but by the simple, powerful truth of two hearts choosing each other freely. And that choice became the legend their people would tell, a story of kindness, trust, and love, found in the quiet heart of the desert.